Thank you very much to International Economic Association for giving us this opportunity to present our paper on cost minimization of IWAN in telecom sector in India, a case study. Nitin has worked on this particular project, understanding the cost opportunities in the telecom sector in India, and this is our main objective. So Nitin has worked in a particular firm, a major firm in the telecom sector in India. So the major aim is the same, that is investigating and estimating cost opportunities to in integrated wireless access network implementation in telecom sector in India. Over to Nitin, please.
Thank you so much. Very warm greetings to one and all. As already iterated, the objective of this study is to understand cost saving opportunities in the role of IWAN technology. So, IWAN is a B2B offering that is offered to customers such as banks, petrol pumps, retail outlets, hospitals, etc. When we started off with this study, doing a current scenario analysis helped us understand that the major cost chunk, the major components of cost are under three heads. One is mainly the sourcing cost of electronics. Secondly, the tower transportation and erection cost, and thirdly, the manufacturing cost of tower. Just before we deep dive into the approach, I'd like to just brief you about the technology. So, IWAN stands for Integrated Wireless Access Networks. So, there are mainly two offerings. The only difference being that in one offering, the bandwidth is dedicated to a particular customer, whereas in the other offering, it's a shared resource. So, there's a difference of speed that is experienced. Moving on, with this project coming up, the very first thought that came to our mind is to go ahead with a zero-based budgeting approach because it's an effective tool, but at the same time, it consumes a lot of time. But results are pretty much proven. Also, to validate our studies, we took help of data envelope analysis. Data envelope analysis, DA as it is called, has been profoundly used in telecom industries with time and again to compare efficiencies and to decide on incentives and regulations. I'll just brief you about the process that was followed at this very company. So every customer site undergoes a health check wherein the size of the tower or pole that is to be erected is decided upon. So this technology works on the principle of line of sight. So the size of tower or pole is decided based on the feasibility of line of sight. So once this height is determined, an order is placed with one of the manufacturing partners of this company, and once manufactured, it is transported to the customer side where it is erected. At the same time, electronics are issued from warehouse and it's installed and commissioned at the customer's place. All in all, there are three different business partners that help enable rollout of this technology. Firstly, the ones who visit site and check the feasibility of this technology, the kind of tower that would be required to erect it. The second is the partner who does all the manufacturing, transportation, and erection work. And thirdly, the original equipment manufacturers who supply with the electronic kits and the cables and other accessories. As far as the methodology is concerned for TAS, as I said, we went ahead with a zero-based costing should cost approach. Three different industrial markets were visited to survey upon the rates of the bill of materials, and it was understood that there is significant opportunity to negotiate on in terms of cost as far as TAS is concerned, even after taking a decent profit margin for all the manufacturers. And in the process, it was also understood that there is scope for process re-engineering that can deliver additional cost savings. Some of the direct cost savers that we took into account are raw material, labor, electricity, indirect being rental, insurance, and administrative stuff, the expenses. One of the challenges here was to try and understand what the electricity cost would be because electricity cost was not really a linear function of the production. So there was differences in the electricity cost for every month, but on an average it oscillated around 80,000 to 1 lakh INR. So what we did here is we plotted this and we got a uniform density function, and taking an integral of this gave us the RAM function, which was equivalent to a probability distribution function. Now, being a probability distribution function, the values lies between 0 to 1, and giving and taking an inverse of this probability distribution function helped us arrive at an equation that would help us fetch the electricity cost. So to arrive at the electricity cost, we took different random values in the interval of 0 to 1 to arrive at an accurate figure of the electricity cost. Based on, again, to validate our study, we took twofold approach. One was inviting quotation from vendors to see if they're aligned with the prices that we have calculated as should cost, and like all the vendors that we floated the RFQ to, they were pretty much in line with the ready to accept the work with the prices that we had calculated. Secondly, we also did data envelopment analysis to understand the pricing efficiency, to see the price that we pay and the amount of material that we get. So I like to draw your attention to 18-meter tower, wherein if you see the window for negotiation maximum in this tower with the least pricing efficiency. And a similar fashion, if you take a look at the 24-meter tower, the window is second largest with the second poorest pricing efficiency. All in all, data analysis is very much in sync with our observations. There being two outliers, one 30-meter and one in 12-meter. So if you notice in 30-meter, data analysis suggests that the pricing efficiency is really good. It's 100% relatively, but the window here is maximum. So there were two outliers to our studies, but all in all, most of the results were in sync with our findings. Moving on, we also tried to understand if there can be a cost saving opportunity in transportation. So presently the firm followed a practice wherein they paid a single unit. It was a fixed unit price model wherein irrespective of the distance traveled for each configuration of tower, a fixed price was paid for the transportation. So what we did is we tried to do hypothesis testing wherein we took random points to understand if the same deliveries were made on a per kilometer basis pricing model, would have been any price savings. Secondly, some savings were realized with this approach, but at the same time we also developed an Excel based model wherein we tried to come up with prices for a per unit fixed price model that would deliver the same level of pricing efficiency as is possible with a per kilometers pricing model. The linear equation are pretty straightforward and very self-explanatory. P's are the proposed prices and C are the current prices. So the equations were that the proposed prices should be less than or equal to the current prices, and the sum of the proposed prices should be less than equal to the current prices for a given set of deliveries. All in all, we were able to realize 28% cost savings in this scheme versus the present scheme that is followed in the company. Summarizing the results, we were able to deliver cost savings in the range of 90 to 120 INR million. And the primary difference between the two proposals lied in process re-engineering. So some of the vendors were following a practice that improved their productivity and throughput and helped realize economies of scale. But even if the practice was not revised, there were opportunities for significant savings based on the should cost analysis that we did. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah. So based on our experiences in the field and in this firm, actually we realized that there could be some implications for the government. And so because we realized that towers are actually made with galvanized materials which are immune to the corrosion. But as per Indian aviation rules, all towers to be coated with alternate strips of orange and white paint for easy visual identification. ICAO guidelines suggest that a tower can be equipped with high intensity bright white light for the day and red medium intensity for night, adhering to a dual lighting strategy. So not necessarily all the towers are to be, painted. Instead of these paints, probably the bright lights can be installed for cost saving. And it was also realized that ground-based towers having maximum height of 30 meters actually can be exempted from the paint requirement as per International Civil Aviation Organization suggests that painting criteria for 45 meters and above towers only. So the paint work often gets, normally it gets scrapped due to harsh environmental conditions and which can require or which may require rework. So an aviation lamp can work for a more extended period without any replacement. The cost reduction possibilities were also observed, though we have not done any work on that, but there may be a scope for future research that the firm may actually look for new partners for all the three functions together. Instead of taking individual functions in one partner, a firm can actually take a partner which can perform all these three functions, that is fabrication, transportation and erections, so as to avoid the cost on the coordination. Another aspect of is that the firm may scientifically investigate the process of determining the size of tower to be erected at the customer site, and by standardizing this practice, significant savings can be realized, and this can also be replicated by other firms, other telecom firms. So with this, we have these references, and we conclude our discussions. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity, and we are open to the question answer session.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.